So there we go. Something like that, huh? Something like that. There we go. See what's up with the people. See what's up with the people. I need a water. Wait for my lady to come out here. She'll bring me one. See if notifications you can go out. Let's see. Raider Tommy, what's going on, Raider Tommy? Good to see you. What's up, Zane? Good to see you. Debunking the Lies. Saludos. Man, Debunking the Lies, that's a great name. Pilton. Dia 209. Yes, sir, I just started. Marciano Valdez, I see you. That's dope. You got the notification. Native Bets, good to see you, homie. Number 7, saludos. Mr. Big Mac, saludos, homie. How you guys doing today? So I'm drinking Heineken Zero. You guys see that right there, the zero? See? Where's that right there? I do not drink alcohol, but on occasion, I do like to have a non-alcoholic beer, just for the taste of the beer, right? And it's the I don't want to say the ceremony, right? But it's the ritual of it. You know, crack a beer and kick it. So it kind of helps me. And sometimes I get a little anxiety or I get a little irritated, and rather than go get an alcoholic beverage, I get myself a non-alcohol beverage. Oh man, like one or two, in terms of how many I'm drinking. Yeah, one or two. What's up, the devil? I see you, homie. Good to see you, bro. Hope everything's going well for you and yours. Everlasting Base. What's going on, man? It's been a while. King Kong in the building. Who else we got? White Russian. Hey, Josh, Heineken used to be my favorite beer before I got sober. Yeah, I liked Heineken's too. I wouldn't say it was my favorite, but when I was drinking, I just drink just about anything, right? What's up, homeboy? It's Desmond Molo from Encinitas. When you coming down south? Good to see you, homie. It's not in the plans right now. I split time. I get my kids every other week, and so I'm either in Nevada with my lady or I'm in California with my kids, and so they're going to be starting school at the beginning of August. So I'm not sure, but probably when I get my settlement from this workman's comp stuff, I want to take my lady down there and have a little vacation or something. And so I love parts of Southern California, right? San Diego in particular, man, it's one of my favorite cities in California. And I know some solid folks down there, some real solid people in San Diego. And whenever I go down there, man, they show me love, right? And so I appreciate it. Why no alcohol? Because I'm not drinking alcohol, because drinking alcohol is bad for me. Hey, local still alcohol, they sell it with the beer. Haha. I heard those weren't bad. Sierra Nevada had a good one called Sober Carpenter. Is that right? I haven't seen that one. Half Dead. You know, they have some craft, the Heineken Zero. They have some, like, craft beers that are kind of expensive. But it's a trip. But I was never really into that. Like, even when I was drinking alcohol, right? I'm not too much into that kind of stuff. But some of them taste pretty good, but they're pricey. You know, they're pricey. I haven't seen it in real life, but I'd heard that they actually have, like, non-alcohol liquor. You know, so I don't know. I'm guessing here, but, like, tequila and rum and these other drinks, and they taste like liquor, but they don't have alcohol in them. I don't think I would be interested in that personally, but yeah, it's a trip. It's a trip. All right, King Kong, you have a good one, homie. It's hard to find that non-alcohol beer. Yeah. Did you watch that interview I told you about? You know what I started to? Last night and I crashed, bro. So I gotta finish it probably tonight. What's up, Jungle Forever? Good to see you. Unknown 209er. Did you know Rojo? Oh yeah, I know Rojo. Hit the likes, Rasa, please. Coors Banquet with some whiskey for me back in the days. Bro, it's fun, safe, and chill down here. Yeah, I believe it. Shout out till I die. See you, homie. Good to see you. Palmetto in the building. That's right. Saludos. Love catching lives on drive home. That's right. Oakland, everything. How you feel about the Oakland teams moving? I think it sucks. I think it sucks. So I'm a fan of the San Francisco teams because I'm from San Francisco. Uh, but like Ricky Henderson's my favorite baseball player of all time. From when he was on the A's, and a lot of people I know, especially folks that I met later in my teen years when I lived in the East Bay, there were people that were fans of the Oakland teams. In San Francisco and on the peninsula, you didn't see that too often. You know, and when NWA came out, everybody wanted to be a Raiders fan. There was kind of that hype. But in terms, they couldn't tell you three people on the Raiders, but they just wore the Raiders gear because it was fashionable. Uh, but in terms of really rocking with teams, you didn't see that too much. But like my lady is a fan of all the Oakland teams, right? She's a Raiders fan. She's an A's fan. Actually, no, she's a Giants fan. But her brother, my brother, was an A's fan. So I think it sucks. I'm a fan of the Warriors. I don't like the Warriors moving to San Francisco. I wish they would have stayed in Oakland. That fan base carried that team when they were trash. Um, I don't like the Raiders moving to Vegas. And even watching the games on TV and talking to some people that have gone to those games, it's not the same atmosphere. There's no home field advantage for the Raiders in Vegas because it's a destination city. It's a tourist city. And so fans of whatever team the Raiders are playing at home, mark it on their calendar and make a Vegas trip to go watch their team play against the Raiders in. And I got a lot of love for Oakland, and I think they did the community wrong. And some of that is on the teams, but a lot of that's on the leadership in Oakland too. And I don't pretend to know all the nitty gritty details, um, but I know that the leadership in Oakland bears a large responsibility for it, and it's just unfortunate. You know, um, Oakland's a great city, man. They got their struggles, they got their problems, uh, but it's also a great city, and they stuck by those teams when those teams weren't good, and uh, and now they're getting burned. Hey, gracias, Soul of a Line. Falling in for the San Fernando Valle. Very nice, guys. City to be exact. Greetings, sir. Hangout. Hey, good to see you, Born Supreme. Rick James. What's up, Rascal? Uh, Guinness Zero is a good one. Oh, okay. I would try that. I would try that. Saludos, A. Perez. I'm going on vacation to San Diego in August. Bahia Resort made reservations April. That's right. Dude, alcohol is haram. What the hell are you drinking? I don't know what haram is, but I'm drinking a Heineken Zero. Yeah, it is more expensive for real. If they open Alcatraz as an NFC of South Rascal. Oh, they ain't gonna open Alcatraz. Um, hey, shout out Redwood City. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, salute to Redwood City, man. I spent some time around there. Lil Mex. My mom's heroin dealer used to live on Second Avenue. Second Middlefield. I was gonna make the smelling cocaine joke, but I thought it was insensitive to those with the struggle. Chongo dropped a dope interview with Mundo. I saw that. I saw that. I talked to Chongo a lot. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I count Chongo as a friend, man. A real friend. And it's a trip because obviously I know, that story and those stories, and I feel like he wasn't. You could tell he wasn't necessarily comfortable. Like it. When you talk to him, he communicates a little bit differently than it came across on the YouTube channel. But I think not everybody's comfortable with cameras and the podcast. So like it can make you nervous, and I think that's kind of what it was. So I look forward to seeing the rest of what he has going on now. But before I quit, I drink a 6-pack of torpedoes and a pint of Jack Daniels, honey and night. Oh, off top. 49ers suck, bro. Lions gonna win the Super Bowl. Hey, shout out to the Lions head coach though. Shout out to the Lions head coach. Shout out North Colorado. That's right. Can you say happy birthday to my sister? Her name is Ha Ha Ha. Are the A's going to Vegas? Yeah. How do you think the prison will run if they open up the Rock, Rascal? Like I said, they can't. It's just a distraction. I've been to Alcatraz. There's a sunrise celebration there on every Indigenous Peoples Day, which is also called Columbus Day by some folks. They have a sunrise celebration, and natives come from all over the world to have a ceremony and to dance and to pray. And there's speakers that come, and so it's a special ferry that you take, from San Francisco to Alcatraz, and it's like you get there like 4 in the morning, and because you gotta be there on sunrise. And so I've gone to that. I brought my kids to that. Brought some youngsters from East Palo Alto to that. And when I first went, um, basically the celebration ends, and then you're all supposed to get on the ferries and go back because Alcatraz, as a tourist destination, is not open yet. It opens like an hour later or something. I just hung out on the rock, you know. Me and my kids and my kid's mom. We just sort of lollygagged, and it reminded me of the old San Quentin days, right? Just dragging your feet, trying not to get back in the cell and kind of playing chicken with the COs. So that's what we did, uh, and waited until Alcatraz was open, and then went ahead and went through, so that we didn't have to pay the additional fee. And I did the tour. That thing is so far from being a functional prison. Um, it's just not gonna happen. Ricky had the list on, but yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. I was watching when on TV when he won that, and he pulled the base up out of the ground. Right, that shit was dope. Size of cities apart, bro. Sacramento's probably the most active city right now, unfortunately. Um, yeah, in a way, in a way. Big figures, good to see you. Rascal, you like Sharks hockey? I went to one hockey game in my life, and it was a Sharks game, and went there for Volunteers of America, right? So they picked a bunch of community groups and basically gave us free tickets, and we could bring youngsters. So I had never been to a hockey game. I caravaned like 4 carloads of youngsters from East Palo Alto. We pulled up there. None of us had seen a hockey game. None of us could name a player on the Sharks. We didn't know nothing. And it kind of sucks because we got to go in the locker room and meet the players and all this stuff, but we were so out of the loop. And most of the other kids that came from more affluent areas, to say the least. And they kind of knew, but we didn't know. And when we sat down to watch the game, at the very, very beginning, when they dropped the puck, I guess, these two dudes shake off their gloves and knuckle up. And that got everybody engaged, right? That got everybody watching. And it was a fun game. It was exciting. I didn't know what the hell I was watching, right? I know that if the puck goes in the net, it's a goal. But other than that, it was cool. But I haven't followed it since. I watched a little bit of hockey when I was in prison just because we had ESPN, and shit, I watched World Series of Poker when I was in prison because it was on TV, right? In the SHU program, but I don't really know too much about it. Raiders used to have the most loyal fans ever. Nobody wanted to play. That's facts. The Raiders Stadium was all money motivated. I agree. What's up, Josh? I didn't get an alert. How are you? Damn, Louis Payne. Well, I'm glad you made it over here, man. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. What's up, Always On? I seen a YouTuber explore the old King Stadium. Oh, that would have been cool. Coming to you from Oakland, that's right. Ice delivered to Oakland Safeway stores. I think there was 2 of them over there. Good times. Saludos de Gulf Califas. Is that right? My son, my son and my daughter have moved to Gulf, to move school districts to Gulf. My oldest is still finishing up in Oak Grove, but I'll be in Gulf a lot. Yeah, I might wind up moving over there. Matter of fact, we need a Stanley Cup. What's up, No? Good to see you. Oakland has hella legends, bro, from the HA to the Black Panthers to independent rap. That's facts. That's facts. There's a lot of culture and a lot of history in Oakland. Except we lost all our teams on this side of the bed, especially since things seem to be getting better over here crime-wise. Yeah. Well, what's up, Triple P? Rascal, you ever met a vato named Danger from C Street? I've seen that name. I've seen that name, but I don't think I know them personally because I think they're a little bit younger. Um, but I've seen that name. I think it must have been in when they had that indictment, right? When they had the 500 block C Street and the Cypress Park, and the very probably the most notable red on red incident in San Mateo County history, right? I I think his name came up in that, right? They snatched up a lot of people, and I think that's where I saw that because it is familiar, but I don't think it's from personal experience. That was uh, that was my very first RICO indictment that I worked on. Was that one years after it happened? Uh, so Rascal desde San Diego. That's right, shout out San Diego. Aram is Middle Eastern for committing a sin sort of. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I know a guy named Harm. That was his actual government name. That's the trip. Uh, interview Chongo from San Jose. He might come on the channel. He might come on the channel. It seems like he got something going over there, and so I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes. But I'm sure I'll talk to him in the next couple of days. He sent me the video, and I actually just watched it maybe like an hour ago. And yeah, good conversation. Chongo is a walking encyclopedia of sorts for a certain era in that lifestyle, right? We'll put it that way. He's also a very good example of redemption. Redemption and helping other people. Um, the grace of God, right? Forgiveness, and he doesn't abuse that. He really doesn't, and it's one of the things I really respect about him. Such in Texas, Mission Oak Avenue, Redwood City. What's good, homies? Second Ave. I lived on Third Avenue, Redwoods back in the days. Is that right, Midnight Moon? Yeah. Sarmuta, not the Sarmuta cartel. How far behind are you in the chat? Right there, Triple P. I'll be taking my time, bro. Bro, I fuck with your channel. Good ass work. I used to live on Monument in Virginia Land. Inside Dan Court. Yeah, I know where Dan Court's at. You took me back to those times, bro. Great video. Hey, I appreciate that, Michael Myers. Yeah, I know that area. Riley Court, Diane Court, Robin Lane. Boy, it was... Whew. Would you interview Dreamer or Chongo? I don't know Dreamer, but I know Chongo. So I would lean that way. Saludos from East Los Maravilla. That's right, shout out Maravilla. What's up, Chito Casillas? Belongs to the Native Americans. Alcatraz does belong to the Native Americans. Rascal, did you see anything on Big Meats or any clarifications on the rumors of him making statements? I did look at that a little bit when it first came out, and nothing jumped out at me. I think there was some okey doke stuff going on there, but I wouldn't go so far as to say that he made statements, but I also wouldn't say that he didn't. And I know that's kind of a cop-out, right? Because I'm not really saying nothing, but I'm not real confident one way or the other, but my knee-jerk reaction to the stuff that I saw was that it was being kind of blown out of proportion. But again, I could be wrong. I'm sure I missed stuff. I didn't do a deep dive on it because I felt like everybody else was. But I will tell you. So here's what. Let me catch up with these comments real quick because it takes me a while. Vampy from Martinez. This sounds familiar. You ever asked Gunner or Dubs to collaborate with you? No. I mean, I respect what they do, but we all got our own channels and kind of our own lanes. And so I hop in the chat on their lives, and they'll hop in the chat on my live sometimes. There's no animosity there, but no, to this point, I've never collaborated with either one of them. We'll talk offline sometimes. Bang Bang Niner Gang, Sunrise Ceremony, yeah. So Skip had Chuco's a goon. Now they fight federal, right? Yep. 4 days sober, all aspects before that day. There you go. Salute to you. Chongo got did wrong. He did. Remember Mario's Pizza or the Pony Express in Redwood City? I do remember the Pony Express. I can't think of Mario's Pizza. What watch you rocking with, Rascal? You know, so this one's dope. It's a Sterling, but it's spelled like in a German way or something. Here, I'll take it off and show you guys. Um, I'm not really into watches, to be honest. I'm getting into them. Uh, and really kind of courtesy of my dad. It was pretty cool. So that's what this one looks like. I don't know if you guys can see it. So it's green in there. And I don't really wear gold, but I do like the two tone. Uh, the green is like the same green as my tattoos. So I think that's pretty cool, right? Uh, but my dad, at some point in the last handful of years, he got into collecting watches. And he made a deal with my son that if he picked his grades up year before last, because he was kind of on the fence, that he would let him pick any watch. And so, my son got his grades up, gave him like an incentive, and my dad laid out his whole watch collection. I was like, here you go, pick one. And and so he did. And then my dad was like, you pick one. So I was very thankful. And I picked this one because of the watches that he had. I liked it. He had some other ones that were really cool, but I also know that they mean a lot to him. So I wasn't trying to do that. Um, and then
Sierra got
uh,
you.
for Father's Day, huh?
That's the one Sierra got you.
No, this one's not. The one Sierra got me is all gold.
Oh, okay.
Um, my lady come, babe, can I have a water? I guess I don't have to yell since you're watching the live. I could just tell you on here. Can I have a water, please, when you get a chance? Um, so then for Father's Day, um, my lady's daughters, right, blessed me with two watches. Well, my lady got me a watch, and Sierra got me a watch. Thank you, babe. And then Sierra got me a watch. So it's got now. I've started building a watch collection, and I don't wear them all the time, but I'm trying to get more in the habit of it. And and it's cool because my son too. Now he's collecting watches, and so it's kind of something that we're doing together. Growing up, I never had anything like that. You know, um, there was no legacy stuff. There ain't nothing getting handed down. There wasn't none of that shit. Um, so it's pretty dope. Legends had a Rascal as an FC list, but his life's being threatened by a tangerine Muslim. uh, Redwood City was good in the 80s. Yeah, I was there. I was around there more like later 80s, right? Later 80s, mid to late. Brock Purdy is a real deal. I agree with that. What's up, Olivia? Mia with an H. I'm new on YouTube. What is the best advice? New on YouTube, like as a content creator, be consistent and don't lie and don't be a cop. That's my advice. Chongo is an individual from the Horseshoe neighborhood in San Jose who was heavily involved with the shenanigans, and yeah, uh, and now he's not. What's up, big homie? Stay away from the rats and lames. You better than that. And all day. What's up, Billy Mo? Man, this month is the 10-year anniversary for two of my good ass people, RP Cuts, RP Sex, the graffiti legends, RP C-Mac, RP Sex. Hey man, my condolences. My condolences. You're the only one we rock with. You turned your life around for better. Salute to you. I appreciate that, Billy Mo. You know some people from Salas? Of course. It's kind of impossible to go through the California prison system as a norteño and not know people from Salas. But yeah, shout out to the Salad Bowl, man. What's up, Mora Inc? I'm coming through these. I'm going through these kind of fast now because I'll get into to talking about some other stuff, right? Opinions on geopolitical situation in the world. Trump's fucking it up. To put it mildly, this is probably the most incompetent executive branch that we've ever had in this country. Um, like we was doing better when we were just getting like farmers and shit to come and run the fucking country. Um, what's up, Pablo Sancho? Palmetto, I'm from Hayward, but I'm in East Market right now at Smart and Finals. I'm visiting family over here. There you go. See the video of his son, little Sneech. I did it. I heard about it, but I don't think I see it. People from Dakota. Man, not the Dakota head stompers. Too young people know about that. A refresher. We got 93 people in the building. Only 45 likers. But for those tuning in case you missed it, this is a non-alcohol beer. It's a Heineken Zero. This shit's gonna get clipped. I'm gonna get trolled with it at some point. So, can you conduct an interview on a one Mr. Menudo de Merced? What up, Sound Blue? You know Soul Play from East Market Salinas that does tattoos? That person I do not know. Any update on Blue Eyes? His situation on his transfer to the feds. Oh, I was like, Blue Eyes? What were we talking about, Blue Eyes? Scoop. Yeah, no, not really. He's, safe to say, he's being tortured by the federal government. Um, that's kind of that's it in a nutshell. I actually got to connect with his wife, and I might do that tonight because some other people reached out that are connected to people that are doing time in the feds from other recent RICO indictments, and so they kind of wanted to link up with her. Um, I really dig the Hamilton watches and the Glucine Airman Chief. Have a good day, Chief from Fresno, California. Shout out Fresno. Thank you, Mr. Dela Cruz. California YouTube Yada running. College General. Salute, homie. Hangout. No more. Here's one. Nope. You know he liked them watches, so you ain't take them. That's good shit. Wifey's always jumping in out. Yeah. She's on me. Oh, that Mac guy's funny. Everyone puts a 2 on a 10 on YouTube. That dude is not putting a 2 on a 10. That's giving him way too much credit, bro. Way too much credit. That dude is a wholesale liar. Okay, so before I get going in the comments, let me vent a little bit, right? This is why I decided to go live. For one, I'm trying to keep my streak going of dropping content every day, so this is the content for today. But so, how many of you got? Well, see, I gotta scroll through so I can see your guys' reactions to shit that I'm saying. So, okay, give me a second. You think Trump will get exposed? Yeah, but not in this administration. What's up, High Power Fitness? I said mine. Purdy is not too short. Do you support the BLT community? Bacon, lettuce, and tomato? Yeah, I'm not. It's not my favorite sandwich. I'm kind of a ham guy. 16th and Mission. It's a grimy area. Salute to 16th and Mission. Respect, but I am white and married to a Hispanic and really close to family and grew up around, but I'm going to turn myself into TDC, Texas Department of Corrections, on Friday. So question is, guess how do I keep from getting in a car? Curry Bennett. The person that I would suggest you get at is Tim Snow, right? Texas Prison Stories. I'm not too familiar with the Texas Department of Corrections and the politics over there. What I do know is the politics are very different, right? And it's just a different environment. From my understanding, you want to stand on your own 2 feet from jump, right? Folks are going to test you. Folks are going to press you. It may be people that look like you. It may not. But regardless, you need to defend yourself. And if you do that, it's not even about winning necessarily, right? It's just about, it's a heart check, right? So seeing if you're a man, right? Because a man will defend himself. And I know a lot of women will defend themselves too, but so that's kind of step number one, you know. But I don't think you get forced to into cars over there in that way. Their politics, like I said, are different. But Tim Snow from Texas Prison Stories would be a much better person to get at. I would suggest messaging him on Facebook. Or if you shoot me an email at joshua@thehomiehangout.com, I can connect you with him offline. But yeah, that would be my advice, to be honest. A wood from my city went in short time and has caught 3 bodies since going in 2019. Never getting out now. That's sad, JP. That's sad. Aha, the Whipple Rotors. Rascal Heineken Zeros are shit for real. Predict Niners record this coming season. I don't know, man. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen with our receiver core. What's Solano Prison about? Just had a homeboy pro out of there, and he just went ghost. So Solano's a level 3 and a level 2. To the best of my knowledge, it's an active. Those are active yards or general population yards. They have tried to integrate, but the non-actives get smashed off the yard. So they politic over there. I can't speak for every group. I don't know who your homeboy was running with. The North politics over there. But it's an active yard. There's people that are factors over there. like I said, depending on the group segment that he runs with, he may just wanted to come home and start a new life, and not bring that tail with him, and and I mean, while some people would frown on that, from the luxury of my position, I say more power to him. You know, Raider Nation's up in alcohol. You drinking with beer with no alcohol? Yes, I am. Those are good. I'm glad you're sober, bro. Yeah, yeah, me too. Thank you. I'm in Northern Ireland. It's 2 a.m. right now. What's up, Winsterian? 2 a.m. My Frisco figs ain't no punks, right? What job should I try and go for so I can stop selling weed? Ain't no money in selling weed out here no more, man. You get a factory job, get a warehouse job, get a job anywhere. If you're in California, minimum wage is pretty good. So, um, but yeah, ain't no money in selling weed if you're in California. If you're in another state, maybe. Incompetent people in positions of power. It sounds like that happens both in and out of prison. Facts. Facts. With Scoops and his wife well. Yeah, likewise, Sing. I'll let them know that. Brian from Rogers City, Michigan. Where are you? Right now, I'm on the outskirts of Reno, Nevada. I really like the outskirts of Sparks. Uh, there's only really 2 cities in Nevada, right? There's Vegas and there's Reno, and those metropolitan areas. Everything else is desert. Uh, but I'm in the cuts. Bro, I get wild horses that run down my street. I got a river right here behind my house. Like, I love it. This is this is my place of peace right here. You know, you walk down the street with a pistol on your hip, ain't nobody gonna look at you sideways. It's different. Have you ever tried to? Oh yeah, that was creative. You almost got me. Almost not even close. Come on, man. I've been doing this shit for a while. Tap into high power fitness to become the best version of yourself. That's right, MJB. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. They're gonna test your butt. No, they don't. No. I quit vaping. I feel way better, Josh. Also, my homegirl said that vaping can cause hair loss. That's another reason I stopped. Is that right? I never heard about the hair loss part. So, control how you react is paramount. It is. It is. I like vaping more than smoking. I will smoke sometimes too. Don't get me wrong. Got a pack of Newports right here. Right. Um, actually, that's I'm bullshit. That's one cigarette in that pack. But I prefer vaping. For one, I don't like the smell of cigarettes. I don't like to smell like I smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes around my kids. I think it's horrible when kids walk around smelling like cigarettes because they're in their parents' car and their parents are fucking smoking like trains. Like, that shit was okay in the 80s, man. It's 2025 now, and we got to grow up a little bit. Uh, so I like vaping. I also vape inside places, right? Inside stores, inside wherever. But discreetly. And so I made a lot of changes in my life, and getting rid of nicotine is definitely on the list, but but it's not a priority for me right now, just to be quite honest. Let me see. As long as the paperwork's good, yeah, that's true too. Yeah, it depends on your charges. Assuming you ain't done no weird shit, I just kind of take for granted that people have it. Uh, uh, Sloop from the East Coast. That's right, Robert. I appreciate you. Lucky Local in the building. I'm 46. I heard a rap song. Now I want to get jumped into a gang. Am I too old? Yes, Lucky Local. You're too old. You are 30 years too old. That's right. My great grandparents were born in Northern Ireland. That's right. Go to trade school, people. Yeah. There's a lot of money in the trades. Uh, yeah, me and my lady are good, bro. We're good. We had a disagreement for a couple days. That was all. I manage a dispensary. Not good money though. I'm in the 50. I'm in the 505. Oh, okay. Oh, so I thought you was talking about like selling weed like as a hustle. I thought I was like, bro, you ain't making no money at that. No more selling work. We actually do work. That's right. Probably some gold in that river. This one they just dredged a couple years ago. Um, but I'd be willing to bet that there's a lot of minerals and stuff out here. They be mining for stuff out here. Like I don't know the specifics. Right, I'm not a geologist, but the minerals and stuff used to make like electric batteries for the cars, right? Because we got Panasonic here uh, that makes all the batteries for the Tesla. That was my last job. That's where I got hurt at. And there's metals involved in that, and those metals come in part from out here, in the northern Nevada desert. And so there's real good money in that mining and stuff. In prison, do words or actions matter more? Good question, Catalina, and really they both matter the same. Um, because what you say can lead somebody to take action. Um, and and when somebody takes action, you take action, right? So it's they're both pretty important. We about to go on Mentiroso Matt again. Lightweight, yeah. Um, uh, what's worse, Matt's prison stories or Gunner's Super Norteño Primo stories? Oh, definitely Matt's prison stories because Gunner is a comedian, right? Like he does a lot of comedy, he does a lot of spoofs, and he tells stories, right? The difference to me is Matt said, "This is my experience. This I walked on the yard and I saw this, and these things happened in the California Department of Corrections, and this is how things are, and I want to educate people on the realities of the California prison system." And then he proceeded to tell bold-faced fucking lies, like it's all lies. Uh, all right. I need a face mask and a snorkel, a little suction tool. You can make a few $100 in 2-3 hours. Yurrington just opened up a mine again. Okay. Yeah, I haven't been to Yurrington, but I know it's not very far from where I'm at because I see it talked about. Yes, double tap the screen to like. Thank you. Oh yeah, look at that, man. We have to 72 likes and 110 watches. That's dope. Uh, it is flood prone. Uh, it is flood prone, but that's why, uh, Herb D. That's why they trenched out this or drenched, I think they call it this uh, this river that's right here. It's like a canal, but at this point it's kind of like a river, and that's why they did that. And then they actually sprayed like a concrete pad for part of it, up a ways, and they have like a whole dam system, set up. It's a trip. I watched them when I first moved here. They were just starting that, and so there was tractors every day out there digging it out and all that stuff and moving all the dirt. Um, and now they're done with it, and there's spots of gravel, there's spots where it's just the dirt. Uh, it's a trip. It's a trip, and yeah, and that's a big part of the reason because at the end of this, apparently, which isn't right where I'm at, but it's not far from me, it had blown out and flooded a few times, and they're starting to build a lot out here, because there's a lot of land, and people are wanting to get away from the city and stuff, and so um, they're they're building these neighborhoods and these little subdivisions, and and yeah, they got they got flooded out. I wasn't around when that happened. I think that happened, years prior, but yeah, they needed to work on that for sure. You near the train tracks. Yeah, so like where I'm sitting right now, I got the river right here, and then the train tracks would be running parallel to me right here, but just a couple miles that way, right? Like this whole town is on the east side of the train tracks. Um, so the reservation and shit is on the west side of the train tracks, right? That's where they got the res and Wadsworth and that kind of stuff is over there. Um, and and yeah, it's it's dope, man. Staying near the tracks, they don't like being flooded. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny, and we're moving. We're gonna stay in the same town, but we're moving to a bigger spot, and as a matter of fact, that is closer to the railroad tracks, actually. Uh, so so okay, let me vent a little bit, right? This is what I titled the live the way that I did. So I I don't know how many of you guys have been paying attention to the T Grizzly situation. You know, I noticed that a lot of my viewers, a lot of the regulars, they're like, you guys aren't really too much into the rappers. A little bit into the Chicano rappers, the Mexican rappers, but definitely not into black rappers, right? And so I don't do a lot of content around it, but it is stuff that I watch. I watch. Man, there's some black podcasters that are some of my favorite. There's white ones, there's brown ones. I try to check out everybody, right? So T Grizzly is this rapper out of Detroit. And like in 2019, right? He kind of blew up. He dropped a song when he got out, and and it blew up. He got like 100 something million views on the video, and so I've seen him a little bit online. I don't really follow him. The little bit of music I've heard from him has not been bad, actually, in my opinion. But anyways, the story is this, right? Or what happens is this. Uh, yeah, 600 member got charged, right? His thing was, yeah. So see, some of you guys have been following it, right? So trip out on this. For those that don't know, uh, he gets out of jail. He comes from the hood in Detroit, right? And he, uh, he's a rapper. He's popping. He gets popular. His aunt, who's not really his aunt, it's his uncle's wife. So they're not biologically connected. She is his manager slash kind of business partner slash the only one who believed him when he got out of prison, everything. And he's signed to her, but then also signed to these other bigger labels now. And I don't know exactly what that business looks like. Um, but he's popping. And in 2019, he's in Detroit. He's got like an Uber driver. And right, at least name it a little something, right? He's got like this Uber driver, and he pulls up to this house in the hood in Detroit, right? And kind of deserted kind of area, just a couple of houses over there, middle of nowhere type shit. But in the hood. Pulls up over there. His aunt, who he is always with him, he speaks very favorably about, but again, remember this is his uncle's wife. And his uncle had just caught a case. His uncle just caught a case and got like a 10-year prison sentence. So they're in a car. He's like, hey, pull off right here. They're leaving the studio. He's like, hey, pull off right here. I got to go to my other relative's house who's on that street. He says he gets out the car. He tells JB, who's his aunt, to come with him. And she doesn't want to. She's going to sit in the car. It's the middle of the night, like 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that. So he goes up to his relative's house. Just as he goes inside, he hears gunshots, 8 shots. He comes outside. The car is gone. There's no glass, nothing else. And then he gets a call. And come to find out, some people had killed his aunt. Somebody had killed his aunt. And they walked up to the car and opened up the back passenger door and just shot 8 times. Okay, it shot his aunt 8 times. And the running theory was, were they aiming for him, right? Were they aiming for T Grizzly because he's kind of connected to some thuggish type people, and so maybe they were gunning for him, right? Drill music type shit. So then they catch somebody who they say is the one who did it, and he's a 600 member, right, out of Chicago, supposedly, Germaine something, and they bust him in Chicago, with a car that was a stolen car that police say was used to do the crime, and with the gun that ballistics say was the same gun that was used to kill the girl, right? So he gets busted a couple weeks later in Chicago in a stolen car, and supposedly that's the murder vehicle, and he got the murder weapon in his pants. So he gets arrested. He's going on trial for that right now. And now there's all the speculation online, okay, about T Grizzly, and there's been speculation over the years, but because it's on trial right now, it's more in the forefront. And some of these fucking clowns on the internet, like Steady Nash and Poetic Flacco, are running with this, right? There's one narrative that says, oh, well, he was actually sleeping with this lady who he called his aunt, right? He was sleeping with his uncle's wife and had got her pregnant, and so needed to take her out the game in order to cover up the fact that she was pregnant. Doesn't really make sense because in an autopsy, they're going to tell you if the person's pregnant or not, right? Is a normal part of an autopsy. So to me, that theory doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You're not going to blow the fucking baby out of her, right? But they're saying that this dude, right, the killer, right, the alleged killer, he's on trial for it. He says he's not the killer, but the person that cops say killed him is friends with this other 600 cat that is tight with Lil Durk and them, who was at T Grizzly's wedding. He was in his wedding as a groomsman. So they're like, hey man, this shooter is not too far disconnected from T Grizzly, and even since the aunt has gotten killed, T Grizzly's been kicking it with this dude who's from the same hood as the shooter, the alleged shooter, right? So people found that kind of suspect, right? Like, why are you hanging out with these people if they're the ones that killed your aunt? Um, and and then there's a theory that she owned a lot of the rights to his music, and now that he's popping and he's making hella money, he wanted to take that and do something different with it, and she didn't want to let him. She didn't feel like it was a good business move, so he whacked her or had her whacked in order to claim all the rights to the music. No idea if any of this is fucking true, right? There's a trial. Like, this is why we have trials, right? This is why people go to court, okay? So, yeah, my multiple things in here raise questions, okay? But if you're gonna come on YouTube, so nothing has happened in this case since Friday of last week, right? Friday of last week, the court adjourned, and the court has not been back in session since then because they're having issues with a juror, right? And anybody that's familiar with jury trials, you have issues with jurors, especially when trials last too long. Then a juror is like, hey, well, I'm not available no more. Like, I thought it was going to be 2 weeks. Because when you get put on jury duty, in my experience in California at least, I've never been on jury duty, but in working on cases that went to trial, when you go get put on jury duty, the judge asks the DA, hey, how much time are you going to take during this trial? Then he asks the defense attorney, how much time are you going to need during this trial? Right? Oh, I need 3 days, or I need 5 days. Okay, bet. So then he goes and tells the jury, hey, we're expected to need you for like 10 days. So can you do that? Right? Can you commit to being here for the next 10 days, right? The next 10 business days. And then if somebody can't, then they raise their hand, hey man, I can't do it. Okay, cool, then you're out the mix. We're gonna put somebody in there who can. Well, the problem is when those trials last 20 days, a lot of those jurors are like, hey man, like I had a vacation planned, or my grandma's sick, or whatever the case may be. Essentially, I don't want to be a part of the jury anymore because it's too late. So that's just one of many different ways. What's up, Superfly? That's just one of many different ways that you can have jury issues in the middle of a fucking trial, right? Or a juror does something improper, or one juror says, oh, well, I heard this juror say that they Googled it on the internet last night, or this person slipped up and said that they know somebody. So juries get kind of catty, and they be snitching on each other and shit too. So it gets tricky. But so there has been the point is there's been no court this week, okay? But if you look on fucking YouTube at these jackasses, they're running content that's getting 50, 60, 70,000 views multiple times a day with updates on the T Grizzly trial. How do you have updates on a trial when the trial is not even happening right now? Like nothing happened today. And they're coming out with bullshit, right? With bullshit. One instance is they came out, I think Poetic Flacco came out with it first, said he Nash picked up on it, right? The cop calling Crip, as Byron Blake calls him. And so they said, hey, the shooter, right, the alleged shooter, the person that's on trial for the murder, he said that T Grizzly paid him to do it. That's not true. That was not said in court. Okay? It wasn't. It wasn't said in court. They're just making shit up to run numbers. Because the T Grizzly, because of the whole thing of his aunt and kind of the controversy, and he's a poppin' rapper, it started to buzz. Like about a week ago, it started to really hit the algorithm on YouTube. So these clout chasers feel like, man, this is a hot topic. Let me just make up a lie so that at least I can drop content about the hot topic. And I've watched some of their videos, and most of their videos are the same as their last one. They show news clips from 2019 when it happened, and all this other shit, right? That ain't got nothing to do with, the price of tea in China today, right? And it's hot air. They came and said, oh, well, and this one is this is where you get into police activities, right? And we see it in the big U case. You can you can lie yourself into a federal indictment, right? Look at Loose Cannon. 99.99999% of the shit that he said was all lies. His name's a fucking lie. It's not his name. That goofy ass chick is not his wife, right? Um, he doesn't own any Airbnbs. He's not rich. He's not a music producer. He's not like loose cannon is a lie. Everything about him is a lie. 99% of the shit that he said having to do with Big U was lies. Okay? He just said it to get on the internet. And Whack 100 wanted him to say it because Whack 100 don't like Big U because they're in their own little pissing contest of who's the big bad social media gangster. I don't fucking know. They're both lames, right? But so they, I don't want to say they're both lames. I shouldn't say that. But their ambitions is goopy, right? So now they're saying, oh, well, the phone, right? The alleged shooter's phone was on that street for 90 minutes prior to the shooting. In other words, right, the implication, of course, is the shooter knew that T Grizzly was going to pull off at this house to go see his relative and watch them pull up type thing, right? That's not on the court record. There is some paperwork, right? It is true that law enforcement believes that that phone that belonged to the person that they're accusing of the shooting was located on that street for 90 minutes prior to the shooting. That is true. But if you know anything about trials, even if you just watch fucking court TV or Dateline or whatever, like not personal experience, you know that not all evidence gets in front of a jury, right? Not everything that's in paperwork gets put in front of a jury. There's rules of evidence. DAs and defense attorneys argue about, is it relevant? Does it have, probative value? And all these other factors that come into play. It's a paperwork game, right? Of motions and appeals and arguing. Now, I don't want this call to get in. Okay, well, we'll leave this call out, but then we got to put this in. And it's all part of the game. It's all part of the legal maneuvering. So that information, let's say for argument's sake, it's true, but it hasn't been put on the record. The jury hasn't heard that in court. Will they hear it? Maybe, right? Depends on how that situation goes. But to come on YouTube and put that information out, like they're doing videos talking about, man, T Grizzly's gonna get indicted to RICO, T Grizzly this, that's cop shit, and people, like I said, you can talk yourself into being a factor in a case that you're not really a factor in. But all these dudes care about is the views. All they care about is the attention. But then when somebody like me pays attention and calls them out on their bullshit, they get all butthurt about it. Why you hating and why you this and why you cloud chasing? You came online looking for attention. I just paid attention. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at your damn self. I gave you what you wanted. A few minutes of my time to hear you out, and I call bullshit. So, like last night, I was watching videos, man, and I'm seeing Bozo's interview. I couldn't even finish watching it. I was like, this dude's a fucking clown. Like, that is the most accurately named individual I've ever met. And I'm seeing this fucking Sanchez dude from San Francisco on Vlad TV and how he was a shot caller in New Folsom at 25 as a northerner. That's a lie. No, you weren't. No, you fucking weren't. There's no way. That didn't happen, bro. Right? And I'm waiting for the part where he talks about proing from an SOI yard, right? Like if he's going to include that part, because he's talking about being a shot caller. So if you're going to talk about being a shot caller, talk about hanging up the gloves too, my guy. But so it's just, I think what I'm going to have to do is restart the reaction channel, Rascal Reacts. Because it's a different kind of content than the homie Hangout. And when I put people on blast on the homie Hangout too much, then some of you guys start getting on me. Bro, we tired of the gossip. We ain't here for that. This isn't helping others move in excellence, which I think it actually is in a roundabout way. But I get the point, right? And I do like talking about other stuff. I like talking about mental health. I spent, an hour on the phone today with a dude. who has severe PTSD from what he experienced when he was in prison, and I'm gonna talk about that, you know, and I'm waiting. There's gonna be a news story that comes out about him, and then I'll show you guys a news story and piggyback off of it with some stuff that I know too. But um, I like talking about recovery. I like talking about family. I like talking about what's going on in prison and legal stuff and this is a wide ranging channel. This isn't your traditional prison genre channel. Um, and so I want to keep doing that. I think it'd be a lot for me to drop 2 videos a day. Um, at this point, but I'm working on it. And so I think what I'm gonna do, for you guys that don't know, I have a channel called Rascal Reacts. I haven't dropped content over there for months. Right, I just started focusing on the homie Hangout. But I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think that's what I'm gonna do, and it, the government, yeah, I'm gonna keep calling them out, but I feel like I have to. I feel like it's almost like a responsibility, and it's not hating. It's like I'm not digging up my neighbor's criminal history and then making a video about it online. I'm not finding somebody who has been to prison, but they have a cooking channel, and I'm just airing them out of what yard you were on and where you paroled from. I don't target people. I don't try to bully people and put everybody on blast. The people who get my attention in a negative sense are those who come online and they portray themselves as a representative of something, right? That they're not. When G-Face comes online and says, you better check in, and white fence and shows a pistol and we gonna get you, he's portraying himself as a gang member, right? As an active gang member, as somebody in the streets, as somebody in good standings, when in reality he's a hood hopping rat. And so that I have a problem with. If he was just doing his trucking stuff, I wouldn't trip. And he had got at me and said, like, hey, I'm just gonna focus on the trucking stuff. Okay, cool. And I'm not tripping. But then he got into the rah-rah gang shit. And I was like, hold on, let me remind you of who you are. You know? And so, yeah, Mohawk Matt, like, I want to discourage people from going to prison. Let me tell you about what I experienced. You didn't experience that stuff, bro. You didn't save those women, COs. People weren't taking over the control booth. I don't even think you were in the Navy. I think you're using stolen valor because the stuff that you said doesn't make any sense. I think everything about you's a lie, and I think you told when your homeboy got shot. And no, his head didn't pop and you got bone and teeth all over you. He got shot in the chest. He died 5 hours later at the hospital. I have the case right here. And I think you told in that case. I think you pointed fingers. And that's why he kind of disappeared for a minute. And no, you didn't go to prison for violent crimes. You went to prison for stealing a gun for a couple years, and then you wound up going to prison for criminal threats, right? And that was your longest prison sentence. And you are at SNY yards. You're PC. So you choose to come and tell your story, and you want to go viral, and you go on these large platforms because you want this attention, right? Just be honest. Like, everybody's story is relevant. I never been to a level 2. Okay, I don't know what it's like to live in a dorm-like setting, right? In prison. I would love for somebody to do content around that. I would love for somebody to talk about how that is. I'd be interested. I'd be intrigued because that's not my experience. I'm curious what is that like, right? When there's a riot in a gym and you go on lockdown, but nobody has a cell for you to lock into, like, what does that look like? Are the bunks kind of segregated? Are all the white bunks over here and the black bunks over there, the northern bunks and southern bunks, or are you kind of on bunks next to whoever, like the way that cells work in a building? right? Where your neighbor could be whoever. Like I got real questions that I would love somebody to come on here and make content. I would subscribe. I would watch those videos, and I know fools get done dirty on level 2 yards with the locks and the socks and all that shit, man. Like, um, if that's your story, run it, and that that would be like that's a relatable story to a lot of people, you know. Uh, Most people haven't done time on level 4 yards or done extensive periods of time in the shoe. Most people in the California Department of Corrections don't have that experience. So there's a lot more people that can relate to your stories, if that's your story, than could relate to, for example, my story. Right? I want to know those stories, but it's like there's such a stigma. Everybody feels like they had to be in the craziest fucking place and see the craziest things and do the craziest things, and it makes a mockery of doing time. You know, NJ Pagan 88, New Jersey Pagan 88. Is that what that is? And you dropped your gang and didn't pick it back up. Why is that? So I didn't drop it by accident. If I set it down, I set it down at the gate of the prison. I was 30 years old and wanted to see if I could live a life without going back to prison. And I knew that a part of that was to not go out and be involved in criminal activity. So I chose not to. And I had every right to. It was not disloyal. I did not abandon anybody. I didn't do anything traitorous or cowardly. I was well within my rights in terms of the politics that I fell up under to make that decision. And I did. And I have not regretted it a single day that I've been out in these last 20 years. So why didn't I pick it back up? Because I thought about it before I set it down. And I don't regret that decision. Lying about your prison career is also stolen valor. I think that's true to a degree. They keep you on bunk stats. Okay. You were scared to pick up where you left off. If that's what you think, then run with that, right? The blacks make forts with the bunks in Oak County. Is that right? Josh, well, my name, you already know. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. For real. Have you ever heard of Cleopatra? Level 4 B yard. Cleopatra? No. Calipatria? Yes. Uh, but not Cleopatra. That sounds like a Churujo's name. uh, County can be worse. Yeah. Yeah, bro, I was so eager to get out of Contra Costa County. It was miserable. It was miserable. Them white dudes did not like me. Them white dudes did not like me. I wasn't sure why, but, we weren't having no powwows to figure it out. It was rough. It was rough, man. I was fighting a lot in the county jail, and I was kind of on an island for a lot of that time. And so, yeah, man, they offered me that 10 years, one strike. Pfft, that's me. Run that. Run that. Can we go to court right now? I'll sign that shit right now. I hit up Dubs and Gunner. They're going to try to figure out how to unblock you. I'm not blocked on any of Dubs' stuff. I don't think I've ever been blocked on Dubs' channel, and Dubs never been blocked on mine. Gunner and I have a history, right? We have a history, and I know he's kind of a polarizing figure, right? A lot of people really like him. A lot of people really don't. A lot of people are kind of in the middle. I don't care. People are allowed to feel however they want. We have a bit of a history that wasn't always the rosiest, right? But we also never really had anything super personal between us. To be honest, it was just shots on YouTube, and I was looking at YouTube like a team sport. I came into YouTube that way, and that was my mistake. Um, and well, I gotta rock with this person. So if they don't like you, I don't like you, type shit, right? And it was really kind of childish and immature, and I think he was kind of in the team sport arena as well. And time goes on, and you just kind of do your own thing, and neither one of us is interested in some prolonged fucking everyday back and forth. Like, he's got better shit to talk about than me, and I have better shit to talk about than him, and that's how it was for a while. But we didn't talk to each other, um, and then kind of had a conversation and realized like none of this is really all that serious, you know. And I don't see YouTube as a competitive space. You know, I don't think one person's views hurt my views. You know, if your channel's popping, I don't think that that gets in the way of my channel popping whatsoever. You know, um, it's not like dinner. Let's say, you're gonna go out to dinner one night. You can only eat so much food, right? So if you choose to go to this place and eat hella food, then the other restaurants in the area that day are not gonna get your business because you already ate your full. YouTube's not like that. People can come and look at it whenever the fuck they want, right? And we have very different styles. Even when we talk about similar things, we have very different styles. And as we got to talking, man, kind of hit it off. And and uh, and yeah, we're on good terms. But during that era, uh, I was blocked on his channel. He was blocked on my channel. And I think we just blocked each other so much. Like, I can't find him. In my block list, Gunners Collective's not on there. And I know Homie Hangout's not in his block list. Like, YouTube won't even let us unblock each other. Uh, and so I don't know how that happened. I don't think it's a big deal. I check out his collective clips, stuff, and leave comments over there sometimes. But yeah, it's no big deal. And we got each other's number, and chop it up here and there about various things. Sometimes YouTube, sometimes just life, and it's nice. The drama doesn't appeal to me, you know. That is traitors. You were supposed to follow the Northern Code. You don't have a clue what you're talking about. But salute to you, Pagan88. You're echoing a lot of the things I've been thinking. Oh, I'm glad. I paused after the a lot and I was like, fuck, it's echoing. Let me fix my earpiece. You're echoing a lot of the things I've been thinking. Not that I can relate in the gang sense, but more so needing to call out over exaggerated shit. Yeah. Hold on, come on, I appreciate that, bro. Oh, you was talking to Triple P. Salutes, homie, watching from Texas. Respect to you and the way you've been at this YouTube shit for as long as you have been. I appreciate that, Fort Creeks. How about Cimitella? Vic. I follow the Cocoa Woods. Yeah, man. I didn't like the $3 where you got to sleep in the middle. I bet. Santa Rita was wild back in '99. I believe it. I've heard a lot of stories about Santa Rita. LA County and Santa Rita I've heard a lot about. Uh, uh, how is it in Northern Cali for Indio Mexicanos? Or Indio Mexicans? Um, Really the same as anywhere else, honestly. There's going to be some discrimination, and there's going to be some people that look down on you. In particular, unfortunately, other Mexicans. But for the most part, it's fine. Solid Boat, Monterey County, keeping it solid always. Are you in Cali? Not right this minute. I'll be out there next week though. Laundo don't sign shoes. We do laundry. What are they? Starch or press? Oh, gotta press. But press with starch. What's up, Gordo 2131? What happened to the big bad NR? If you're asking that question, then you know the answer. Tongue twister. Can you say I am Sofa King? We taught it. Santa Rita was rough. Brought it a year and there felt like 5. I believe it. Yeah, I never went to Santa Rita. Never went to Santa Rita. The only 2 county jails I ever went to was San Mateo County and Contra Costa County. Um, Juvenile hall, been juvenile hall everywhere. Right? It's all over the place. But actually, I didn't go to juvenile hall in Alameda County either. San Francisco, San Mateo, but not over there. I slide through Oakland. I got some good folks in Oakland, but I never really got in trouble. Like, I didn't really get into stuff in Oakland. Um, I went to Oakland like to kick it. It was like a break, you know. And everybody else over there was already doing crazy shit, so they didn't need me to do no crazy shit. Santa Rita County, if you go to the host 24-hour lockdown, they let you come out for 1 hour every other day. Yeah. You know what I was thinking about the other day? Juvenile hall, man. Listen from the gym. That's right, gas masks, get your money. Um, in juvenile hall, San Mateo County, They called it Hillcrest back then, right? Now it's called Youth Services Center, I think. And and the girls' camp is named after the judge that had me tried as an adult. It's a whole story. But Judge Kemp, I was a racist lady. If you was black, if you was coming from East Palo Alto, or you were black, going to juvenile hall in the late '80s, early '90s in San Mateo County, you was going to YA for sure. You was going to YA because her daughter. The rumor is her daughter got turned out, and she got turned out and was down there in EPA hanging out with the brothers and smoking crack and hoeing and so she took that out on she took that out on everybody from East Palo Alto coming through there, but especially the black dudes, um, and really kind of fucked up a whole generation that brought. But anyways, in Hillcrest back in the days, the ad seg was called X Unit, and it was just a few cells that were behind kind of the front desks. When you walk in, the main entrance of the juvenile hall. It's like when your visitors come in and that kind of stuff. Uh, and bro, we never got out. We just sat in the cell, 24/7. We had a toilet in there, and there was no rec time. There was no get an hour a day. There was none of that shit. Uh, like once a week, they'd come and one of the dudes, Sarang, this old like Middle Eastern Indian dude, would pull us out and take us to the gym to play basketball for a little bit. Um, and uh, and man, it's like solitary confinement. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of trained me for the shoe later. Like it's solitary confinement as a juvenile was rough, and there was no, there was no rules. There was no rules at all. You say you're not on the block list on his channels. Yeah, see, come on, it's a trip. Like it's weird how that works. I don't know how it is, but you can end up blocked. Like there's people who say they're blocked on my channel, and they'll get at me like on IG or whatever, and I'll look, and they're not there. They're not on the list, and there's nothing I can do about it, right? They're not. I can't unblock you if I don't see you on the block list. Um, but sure enough, I don't see their comments, so I believe them. So I don't know, and I've done it on the desktop. I've done it on my phone. I I don't know. YouTube's a trip, but so I've seen some of you guys' comments a minute ago when I was kind of ranting about some of these liars, right? So you think I should just include that stuff in the homie hangout, or should I run it as on the Rascal Reacts? Because I'd also do reactions to other stuff. You know, um, all this coming out about how Trump knew that he was in the Epstein files, uh, and the Department of Justice told him months and months ago, right around the time that they started pushing back and saying, well, maybe we won't release it. So I'll react to a lot to different things over there, uh, and there'll be some positive. I'm getting uncomfortable sitting in this chair. There'll be some positive reactions too. Not all negative talking shit. I like to highlight when I see other channels that are doing stuff that I like or that I think is interesting. Like the video I did about 1090 Jake. That was largely just to promote Byron Blake's channel, and also point out, some of the stuff that he said. But he's been the one doing the homework, and I respect the grind, and I like his content. I like the way that he does it, and so I thought, you know what, let me kind of boost it a little bit. I don't know if it does him any good. I don't know if he got any new subscribers or anything, but I don't want to only be critical. I like coming on here and talking positive about what people are doing also. Like Big Tone's podcast. I think Big Tone's podcast is dope. I'm gonna do a video about that at some point. He's 6,000 seconds time out. Right, you can't do that math. Just keep it in the homie hangout. Keep it simple. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a timeout thing. Make a third channel. What's up, Julio Solorio? No, I would, man. I struggle with one. What's up, Rascal Kid from San Fernando? Tap it in my G. What's up, bro? Good to see you. What's up, Corco? Good to see you, homie. You ever cross paths? No, I never. I was never on the same yard as Dubs. I'm sure we were in the shoe at the same time, but the shoe's a big place where you're very isolated, and so I think if we sat down and did the math, I would expect that we were in the Bay at the same time. Um, I don't think we were in Corcoran at the same time, but we were probably in the Bay at the same time, at least part of that time. Um, but uh, but I didn't see him back there. Let's see. What's up, Lolly? Good to see you. Saludos, bro. What on started this? Any stories from Seaside 831? Dank Leaf. You know, my only Seaside story is actually kind of an interesting one, but it's not maybe what you would think. So I do immigration work, right? Especially when it came out with DACA. When Obama came out with DACA to try to win the brown vote because he deported hell of fucking people in his first term. So he one of the things with DACA is you would be ineligible if you have been labeled as a gang member. And that's not just if you have a criminal history as a gang member, but even if like a school resource officer labeled you a gang member, or if you had an FI card saying you were a gang member and had no criminal history, you could still be denied DACA. And so a lot of the people applying were concerned that they had been labeled as gang members, or they had been. And so there was a dude out of Seaside, and he got labeled as a gang member because he had the California bear tattooed on his forearm right here, right? And he got it done at a shop. It wasn't the bear with the star. It wasn't the flag. It was just the fucking bear. That's it, right? And it was a cover up of his ex girlfriend's name, And so it had to be something kind of big and, big and a filled in tattoo to cover it up. So he gets the bear, and they turned around and said, "No, man, that's a northerner tattoo." The dude wasn't a northerner. He wasn't a gang member whatsoever. Um, and so I worked on that case. Uh, he wound up getting his papers, right? He wound up getting DACA, and being okay. But he was out of Seaside. What's up, baby?
I was bringing you water, but you need it.
Oh no, I haven't been drinking too much. Oh, and so do gotta drink my water. But and then Vice News did a documentary, right? They contacted me, and well, actually, I had contacted them some like 6 months prior, but they circled back and they said, "Hey, we want to do a Vice News segment on immigration and gang tattoos and stuff." And so I connected them with all the people to do it, and they came out to my house and interviewed me in my office, and I kind of ran them down on stuff, and they wanted to know, "Hey, can you connect us with somebody who's currently going through the process? We'll keep them anonymous and protect their identity and everything else." And so I got a hold of him, right? I got a hold of the youngster out in Seaside. He was an adult, but he's a youngster, and say, "Hey, man, here's an opportunity for you," and he was like, "As long as they're gonna not identify me, right? Because we're still going through proceedings, and you don't want to piss off the government when you're trying to get papers." And so they assured me that they would deal with it delicately, and they did. And went down there, and I think they slid him a couple bucks for it. They didn't pay me nothing, but I think they paid him a little something for it. But I was down there in Seaside with him and his wife um, a few times, man, late night, kind of just posted up, having conversations and trying to get an idea of his situation. So, like I said, probably not the kind of Seaside story you're you're expecting. But when I hear of that town, that's the first thing that comes to mind. I just did the calculations. 86,000 timeouts is 2 months, bro. I don't know how to reverse that. I've been seeing more Big Tom's podcast and some good interviews. He does. He does. You remind me of Mike Ness for some reason. I'm not sure who Mike Ness is, but I'm going to take it as a compliment. Let's see. Gasman's Lolly. Stack Life, that's right. Either way, the people are interested will find the content. That is true. That is true. New video. What's up, Rascal? Long time no see here. My brother stopping by to show my love and support and send mine. Yeah, yeah. What's up, Mr. Goyle? Good to see you. I hope all is well, man, with you and your family. If no response to your comments, more than likely to just ignoring you or someone's lying. Rascal, what are your thoughts on this new Obama treason BS? It's BS. It's, it's all distraction, bro. The Republicans are scrambling over Epstein. And and so now all of a sudden the Epstein files are a Democratic hoax that's been invented, um, which is nonsense, of course. He's not going to do anything to Obama. He's just talking. It's just red meat for his base. That's all, and the influencers are going to jump on and this and that. What's up with? Hey, you hear Candace Owen, right? The black Republican chick. She's a fucking dork. Um, she's being sued by the president of France. The president of France and his wife are suing her because she's got her podcast and she did this whole series talking about how President Macron's wife was actually born a man. Get this. She says that the president's wife was actually born a man and then stole somebody else's identity and went through gender transition surgery to be a woman. And yeah, like some tabloid shit. Like this is the stuff you expect to see when you're waiting in line at the grocery store, you know. And of course there's no truth to it, right? And so Macron's people had reached out to her several times and told her like, hey, you need to stop this shit. Like cease and desist letters and ordering retractions and stuff, and she didn't do it. And I think she thought that they would just let it go. And she just did it for clicks and views and attention, right? Just to sensationalize some shit. And it worked. She made a bag, but she's going to have to spend a bag now because they're suing her. And the dude's the fucking president of France. Like, he's got a pretty good legal team. And from what I've seen of it, it is a classic defamation case. It's the paper trail is there. That is a slam dunk defamation case, assuming that it's not true, right? Which, if it was true, I don't think Candace Owens would be the one to crack the code, you know. And so it's a classic defamation case, and he's gonna win. He's for sure gonna win. And now she's playing a victim role. This is a foreign government interfering with an American journalist, which the term journalist doesn't mean what it used to. With an American journalist's First Amendment rights. You have the right to free speech, but you don't have the right to be free from consequences. People get this First Amendment shit twisted. All that means is the government will not punish you for what you say, okay? With some limited exceptions. If you yell fire in a crowded theater, if you say you're going to kill the president, like there's certain things that they'll come and look at you for. But 99% of the time, the government will not persecute you based on what you say. That's all the First Amendment says. It does not mean that you can't get fired for what you say, that you can't get canceled for what you say, that you can't get sued for what you say, that you can't get socked in the fucking mouth for what you say. The First Amendment ain't got nothing to do with any of that. It's just about the government. So she's playing a victim role, but she's a victim of her own ambition, you know. Exactly, gas mask. 5 for 1, much love, respect for you, dog. I appreciate that. Tommy 2 times. What's the story on Mohawk Matt? He's a clown. I'm all for secure border, but snatching people up ain't right. All the dudes at work are tripping. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I don't know anybody that's not in favor of a secure border. Okay, despite the Republican talking point that Democrats want open borders. I don't know. Maybe some of them do, right? I don't know. I'm not a Democrat. But I personally don't know anybody who really believes there should be no security at the border. There should be no border and people could just walk across. That shit looks good in some social media memes and that kind of stuff. But if you actually have a conversation with someone, I've never talked to anybody who believed in that. Okay. But how are you going to improve the economy by snatching up all the workers? Right? So you're going to improve the economy, but Elon Musk comes in and lays off hundreds of thousands of people, which makes a government that wasn't particularly efficient before, very inefficient now. And now you're running around and you're raiding manufacturing places, you're raiding canneries, you're raiding fields, you're raiding the garment district. All those people are working, they're providing a service. And there's not the labor force to replace them. So now you have farms where crops are dying because there's nobody to pick them. So the farmers are going to have to charge you more for the next round of crops to make up for what they lost on this one. Who's that cost going to be felt by? Us, the consumer at the grocery store. It's Trump has not done a single thing to improve this country since he's been president, but he's done a lot of stuff to make it more dangerous, right? He's done a lot of stuff to make it more dangerous. Um, you go and bomb Iran, right? Oh wait, hold on. 1999. Martinez Cool Girl. Hey, gracias, thank you. I greatly appreciate that. JFK was the last good one, for real. Yeah, off top. Bro, light bulb just went off. Have you seen the Surrounded series on Jubilee? No, I have not. Freedom of speech is absolute. It is. When it comes to the government. Her and Pee Wee, what's up? Who spoke out the side of the neck today, my guy? Your thoughts on that Django interview? Alright, so I thought it was pretty good. Oh, babe in here whacking hella people. Tens of millions illegally crossed. Nah, I mean, it's a little bit of an exaggeration. No offense, but she's right. All the evidence will support her. I love your content, but you should watch her series on him, her. A blindside. I mean, we'll see. We will see. I like I said, I find it hard to believe that a dude who's the president of France and has been through a lot of political battles and a lot of political wars in his own country and all throughout the EU has this closely held secret, and Candace Owens is the one to figure it out. Nah, bro, just because they're providing service doesn't mean it makes it right. No, bro, just because they're providing a service doesn't mean it makes it right. No, I get that. There are cases about the yelling fire in a crowd that got debunked, especially getting hit for what you say. Physical bad. Okay, yes, no, you're right. It is a crime. If you punch somebody because of what they say to you, that is a crime. You can be punished. I just mean socially, right? So that's not legally, right? Like I say, if you punch somebody for what they say, then yes, you can be charged with a crime. But the First Amendment doesn't stop somebody from punching you for what you say in their face. You know, that's my point. The First Amendment protects you from the government. It does not protect you from other people. And yeah, that's more what I was saying. What's up, Nick Salas? Right. Yeah, politics is crazy. You just said no one is against secure borders. Based on that response, is that actually what you believe? I don't know what you mean. Based on what response? I don't believe in unsecured borders at all. I think the immigration system has been broken for a long time, and I think it has been broken, and that's true. People will punch back. I think it's been broken intentionally. You know, I think it is a political tool for politicians to run on, but they don't want to fix it, right? If my belief on government in general is that rarely is government interested in fixing a problem, right? It's a bureaucracy's job is to remain relevant, to remain important. And so the war on drugs. A lot of money gets poured into the war on drugs. If you can wave a magic wand and cure addiction, that you're losing tons of jobs. You're losing tons of people in jail that provide, you know, the money for people to work in the jails. All the rehabs out of business, right? The drug manufacturers that do the detox. So a lot of people lose their jobs. A lot of these nonprofits that get funding to do drug awareness. Well, if nobody's on drugs, then You don't get that funding anymore. You got to pick something else to go champion for. So government is not well situated to solve problems, you know. But and I think that's the same with immigration. That's why government hasn't fixed it. Um, it is possible to have an efficient immigration system that is consistent with international law and is consistent with American values, and that is not abusive, right? Doesn't mean that everybody that wants to come here gets to come here. Um, but having vans of masked people riding around, jumping out, snatching up people, um, from their workplace, it saves going after the criminals, right? And the people that are a danger to society. The federal government is aware of 10 to 15,000 people that are in this country illegally that have murder convictions. Even more that are in this country illegally that are sex offenders. And they're aware of them and they're not going after them. But why are they not going after them? Because there's a lot more work, right? Those are people you have to hunt down, right? It's a lot more investigation, a lot more legwork. It takes time. It's not as sexy to go catch this one dude who's a killer that's been hiding out in this country for a while. It's easier to just go to a job site with a van and snatch up hella people and throw them on a bus. And the trick is, the trip is, and something that I don't hear a lot of people talk about is Biden deported more people in the first 4 months of his administration than Trump has. Trump isn't deporting so many people. He's detaining them. He's detaining them, and they're being held in private prisons throughout the country, mostly in red states, that have government contracts. So it's a money thing. It's filling the beds at these detention centers because these private prison contractors are paid based on how many beds are full. They're paid based on their occupancy. So they're not really a lot of people getting sent away. There's some high profile stuff sending the people to El Salvador, even though they're from Venezuela, Mexico, and other places, right? There's some high profile shit that's being done just for the optics, for the headlines. But he's not actually sending a lot of people out of the country. He's keeping them in jail in this country, um, and and people are getting rich off of it. You know. What up, Seth? Pete Perez, go Niners. That's right. They are criminals, though. They're not here legally. My thing is, those who hire them should be investigated too. Gas masks. They've had, verify for decades and decades. They could have gone after those places. Think about it. If you have a cannery, right, in Oklahoma, and you're employing 100 people that are not here legally, right, that don't have the legal right to work, they're probably all together using maybe 10, 12 different social security numbers, right? You probably have multiple people at your job site that are using the same social security number, because these companies still have a payroll, right? So they get them on payroll, and this is the other reason why it's not in the government's interest to address people who don't have the right to work in this country that are actually working and are working at legit jobs, right, where they get a paycheck every 2 weeks. Taxes get taken out of their check every 2 weeks. Do they file taxes at the end of the year? Of course not, because they're using some dead person's social security number. They can't file taxes. So what happens to that money? The government keeps it, right? It goes unclaimed. And that's a huge amount of money that the government makes off of not targeting these people. Plus, these business owners are happy because they get to exploit this labor pool, right? They don't have to worry about treating them right. They don't have to worry about anything else. They're expendable people. So in their eyes, right? So the businesses are happy, right? They don't want to be verified. If the IRS just turned around and looked at the tax filings from people that have jobs in this country and looked and said, you're using a fake social security number, well, you work for, JoJo's fucking laundry over here, go to JoJo's laundry and say, hey, I need this employee. And fuck you because they lied, right? On paper, it says their name is Jane Doe, and they're not. Look at them. So there are easy fixes to this stuff, but there's not an incentive for those fixes because people want the show and the government wants the money. and the wealthy people want to stay wealthy. The government gets the money, and the wealthy people stay wealthy by having undocumented labor throughout this country. California has what, the fourth, fifth largest economy in the world. It's also roughly 50% immigrants. Okay, the workforce is roughly 50%, 40%, 50%. Okay, so in that, those two things are not mutually exclusive. How do we have such a great economy in California? The labor that we have. So the idea that it's immigrants that are ruining the labor force or that are ruining the country is fucking hogwash. It's it's a scapegoat, right? And it's just it's a mess, man. It's a mess. But uh, uh, could be them stealing identities. Would you ever do a video on the difference between private and public prisons? Um, yeah, I could probably do that. Yeah. Um, it's probably politics is all about optics, not reality. Facts. Facts. Um, what's up from Dago? Josh, love the content. I appreciate that. Simon Dragon, shout out to San Diego. Like I've said before, man, I had a lot of fun in San Diego several times. Um, and so, yeah, well, that's why Chavez was against. That's why Chavez was against the Bracero program and undocumented labor, right? Because you can't unionize them because they're not U.S. citizens. Um, so it wasn't that he was against. Now there's this revisionist history that Chavez doesn't. Chavez hated Mexicans and all this other bullshit. It's not fucking true. It's again, that's this super woke rewriting history, looking at stuff that happened 50 years ago through the lens of this year, and that's just not fair. That's not how history works, right? He was trying to improve the conditions of people working in the fields and people working in the factories, and he was trying to unionize a population of people. You can't unionize folks that aren't here legally, so that's it's kind of common sense. Um, but what else you guys want to talk about? What else we got? What else we got? What else we got? What kind of content do you guys want moving forward? Uh, let's see, white chocolate. Texas in the house. That's right. Shout out Texas. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Sanho. Uh, you take a wooden spoon down your throat. That must be painful. Uh, gas mask. Yeah, I don't think we're very far apart. I don't think we're very far apart on it. Uh, Climate Dragon, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I a lot of things interest me. I know a little bit about a lot of stuff. I'm not a expert at much of anything. Um, but I know a little bit about this, a little bit about that, and I like to learn. I enjoy learning. I think that's part of being alive. You know, um, it's a blessing. Richard Rodriguez, just passing by to say Cuvo from Richard, East LA, California. Keep pushing. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. There goes Babe with that 86,000 seconds. Content to organize, unite the communities. You already doing it, homie. I appreciate that, JP. I like the idea of reaction videos on Rascal Reacts channel. Okay, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think that's what I'm gonna do. And I'll still do like I said, there's sort of two different sides of my personality, right? It's still me. It's all me, of course, but uh, sometimes I just like to call bullshit, and 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 other times I like to just kind of promote what folks are doing. Um, I know that's what I told him. That's what I told him. And so it's, but I know some people aren't into all that, right? How about some content on homies that are doing positive things in their communities? I mean, the prison stories are cool, but we're free now. How are homies doing out here? Felix Lucero, great idea. And uh, I appreciate that, Benji. You know, a while back, not a while back, early on, so a few years ago, I had been reaching out to different people that were small business owners, right? That had done time or had been a part of the lifestyle, right? From whatever hood or gang or whatever. I don't care about that shit. Um, and now they had small businesses or they were doing their thing, and I wanted to set them up for interviews, and I something I still want to do. But I would say for somebody that is doing content like that, and I'm gonna do a video about this, maybe even tomorrow. Um, Big Tone's podcast. He's doing a very good job, I think, of highlighting folks that have some experience in the streets or prison, but are uh, are moving forward in life, man, and are doing good things, and and yeah, I appreciate what he's doing, and I think he's taking the right approach, in terms of a lot of these dudes, man. A lot of people that come from the streets, they get older in age, but they don't want to grow up, So then you got 40-year-old dudes that are gangbanging, and it's kind of pathetic if you ask me, right? And so, um, with Tone, you can see a change, like in his music and in how he presents himself and he carries himself. Um, it has grown with him, as he's aged. That's reflected in how he carries himself, and and I respect it, and I think he's doing a good, deed with that. Uh, Absolutely, the devil. Absolutely. My strip club's so expensive. Man, I haven't been to a strip club in so long, I wouldn't even know. I know haircuts are a hell of a lot more expensive than they used to be. That I know. Uh, Stay focused, stay clean, stay alert, keep going. Words of encouragement too. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you, JD Slime. You guys give me a second, man. I'm gonna step off, use the restroom. I'll be right back. Let's see if we can keep this going. Oh, hey, baby.
Hey, babe. Dinner's about done.
Is it?
Yeah.
How are we leaving? people still there?
75.
Really? Man, you guys are dope. Nah, can you hear me now? Can you hear me, baby? You can't hear me on the thing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go. All right. Let's see. Any advice for a felon looking for a job, about to finish a bachelor's and start the expungement process? What are you getting a bachelor's degree in? And if you're getting it from a physical school, right, and not like an online school, they should be able to help you with some job placement in the field that you're studying. Um, unless it's like coming off. Unless it's like these glass tables don't work as well. Like sociology or something, right? Where then you got to move on and get a graduate degree in order to really get a great job. Um, but yeah, networking, man. But college, one of the great things in my opinion about college is the networking. Is your classmates, your professors, the people that are in other disciplines, and building those connections can really lead to opportunities, for you after school. Yeah, let the childish way and the mature man. Amen. Too old for it. Sheesh. What are your thoughts on the Prisoner's Awakening channel? I haven't been over there lately. Um, I haven't been over there. Can I have one of those, please? You got them over there? So I don't really know what he's up to. I feel like he has some okay content. When he first started, I interviewed him on my channel. Um, I interviewed him on the homie Hangout, and I think I still have it in the interview tab. But like I re-uploaded it because his nickname's Looney, right? Or was Looney or is Looney? I don't know. He's fucking Looney sometimes. We never really had no falling out, him and I, but he expressed a strong dislike for me. Um, there's some people that are mad at me because I don't go after Gunner and go after Dubs all the time. And so that's not my job, right? And I don't feel like it, and I don't really have anything to go after him about, right? And so um, I think that's why he sort of disliked me. I re-uploaded our interview, and I was like, hey, back when he first started, because he went through a period where like that dude's riding around loading pistols in his car with his kid in the back seat, getting drunk and getting high and on drugs, like just weird ass shit, right? Then he wasn't like that when he first started on YouTube. So I re-uploaded the video a couple years, I think, after our initial interview to kind of show people like, hey, this is how he was when he first came on YouTube. Uh, he's different now, but this is another side of him, and I think he kind of took that offensive. Uh, but I don't go over there, so I don't know what he's talking about these days. Uh, like Dodo on his J-Cast shit. Dodo be on some J-Cast shit. I don't really see what he's been up to lately anymore either. Somebody had said that he was back on YouTube a while ago. I went and watched like one video. I was like, that cat. This dude. Him I feel sorry for because he's going to get himself hurt. He's already done it before. I'm not wishing anything to existence. I don't advocate violence, right? Unless, somebody has weird charges. And you don't have anything to lose. But yeah, that dude. That's constant content for a reaction channel. These hoes don't deserve that much. Random subject, but has anyone on the chat dealt with a parent or loved one with dementia? Sparky Buff. Good question. Good question. What up, Droops from the east side? Good to see you, man. It's been a while. What you thinking about the Mario on Vlad TV saying he was a homie? Laugh out loud. Who the fuck is he? South Monterey County, East Bowl. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but he was not a northerner with the keys to sea facility in New Folsom. I was talking to somebody earlier about it, and I was like, I want to see what that kite looked like and where it came from. It's so my lady will tell you, she's right here watching, and she's in the chat, right? I'm laying in bed last night, and I oftentimes fall asleep to YouTube. Right, I'll lay there, I put my little earpiece in. She has her stuff that she likes to watch. I have my stuff that I like to watch, and we're like an old couple, man. We kind of, when it's the end of the night, like ready to close your eyes, we just start to put in our earpiece and roll over and fall asleep to whatever the fuck they're talking about on YouTube, right? And it works for us, right? And so I'm laying there. It's like my relax time. And I see Mario, whatever the fuck his name is. Fuentes, I think. Uh, Mario needs to stop trying to grow his hair. His hair doesn't want to grow. Like he's in a battle with his hair. But he's on Vlad TV and that's segment 7 or something like that. And it's Norteño shot caller, 25 years old, in charge of 40 or 50 Norteños. We're like, all right, let me look. And I had been listening to the Bozo interview, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I had to take a break, right? Because it's too much. It's just too much to handle at one time. So I was like, oh, let me listen to this northern guy. Fucking guy. It's So he's from the Richmond district in San Francisco. And don't worry if you've never heard of any other gang member from the Richmond district, because there hasn't been one. Yeah, bro. He's gonna be a star. He's gonna be a star on Rascal Reacts. That dude is. And he paroled from Mule Creek. Oh, did I say that out loud? My bad. Okay. Stay tuned for the video. You'll see. Did you live in Oak Park? I think you might know my bro. I did not live in Oak Park. Nope. Nope. I know some people from Oak Park. And I may know your bro, but I never lived there. Elk Grove. And so Elk Grove's kind of close to Oak Park, but a very different community at the same time. Reactions to hot topics on the internet. People love gossip. That's why that T Grizzly content was so popular. Yeah, right, Martin. You were tuned in earlier, right, when I was talking about that situation. These dudes are just lying on them. They're just doing cop work. Open source reporting. The federal government has told everybody in recent indictments they are using statements made on social media to indict people in racketeering cases. Like, and yet these dudes still keep coming on here and making way out statements and just making shit up out of thin air and running content and getting 100,000 views. But it's a lie. It's a bold-faced fucking lie. Over and over and over. And that's the shit that gets on my nerves. Looks like Nevada. I am in Nevada. My dinner was a bowl of cereal. Oh, that's rough. Money is tight these days, man. That's a fact. What you think of Vato Mario on Vlad TV saying he was a homie? Laugh out. Who the fuck is he? Never heard of him, especially him saying he had yeah. Oops. Yeah, he's a clown. I think your reactions to other people's videos where you pause and analyze the words are interesting. Okay, yeah, that's what I think I'm gonna do on the reaction channel, right? Lil Hefe1, good to see you. What's up with a homie tapping in for the 209? Shout out Stock Throwing in the building. Email sent. Peep it when you can. I will. Economy and layoffs. Don't know when it's gonna end, man. That's the truth. I'm in Chole, but I stay in Greenfast. Those are the cities that you don't hear about in Monterey County. But if you're in the mix, you hear about them. My dinner was 3 steaks, a whole chicken with tortillas and cheese. Good Lord. I should stay in Chole on the corner from Bingo's Meat Market. History, okay. Oh, your major's in history. Cal State San Marcos. Okay. What's up, not time no see. What's up, ya razón? Yeah, I would say get with the folks at your school, man. You know, I don't know what stuff is out there right now actually for a history major. Solar for Christ Ministry and Outdoors. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for the prayers, and I do return them. Earthquake. Uh-oh. Hey, bro, how did your baby girl do in her swim meet? Not as well as she liked. Not as well as she liked. So her team, thank you for asking. Her team was first, right? They won champs. Um, but she wasn't too thrilled with her performance on Sunday. She did a little better on Saturday. You know, she was tired. Uh, but but yeah, her team did well, and she didn't get to race some of the stuff that she wanted to. Homie looks like he's from Antioch and slaps Woody in a Buick Oldsmobile. So I've had a Buick Oldsmobile before. I've not lived in Antioch, but I'm familiar with the area. Uh, and the first time I heard a Woody song was right before he died, when I came out of prison. But I do know a lot of people that were close with Woody. But I never met him. Salute OG from a brother down in LA. That's right, KL Jackson. Salute you, my guy. How's our homie George from True Lake? What prison is he in? Is that an O'Doul's? No, very similar though. It's a Heineken Zero. Shark Tank Hank. Heineken Zero. I like to switch them up sometimes. I'm not in California right now. I'm in Nevada right now. I'll be in California next week. Let's see. Toro's whack. You say you don't call out Gunner. Yeah, I know. I think I like your channel so much because you're consistently inconsistent, and I really relate to that. Thank you, fishing, not catching. I am consistently inconsistent. That is true. Young D, he does, but then he starts spitting a bunch of gibberish, saying that he's speaking an ancient language. Uh, Being Loke, your Northern Rider homie. I don't have any Northern Rider homies. Uh, he is a fool, though, on Vlad TBS. Uh, what's up, Cricket from Chronicles? Good to see you, man. It's been a minute. We should catch up at some point. What's up, Nick? It's crazy what people try to be. I know, right? Gizmo from Chole. I think I know Gizmo from Chole. Nothing wrong with being a regular citizen. Facts. If you're on StreamYard, I'm at the airport delayed. If you want to take on a guest, let me know. I'm not on StreamYard. And you know, StreamYard's taxing now. Man, StreamYard is just, their prices went through the roof. And it's rough because I had a paid plan before. And so I have like over 50 hours of content, past content, that I just have saved in StreamYard. But then they're like, oh, we want $80 or some crazy shit. And I was like, you tripping. So now I can't access it. I got to pay them to get it. So they're kind of hijacking me right now. They're extorting me. But I think I got an email for like 40% off. So I'm going to do that, take all that videos off, put them on an external hard drive, and then tell StreamYard that ya estuvo. Oh, watch the cursing, please. What up, Joseph Silva? Good to see you, man. My mom has dementia. My dad has dementia, I mean. I got him a Pac-Man game from Costco to exercise his brain. That's interesting. Check out the Hugo Chavez case out of San Jose. Why does that sound familiar? Why does that sound familiar? I'm going to have to scroll back through these comments and make a note of that. Rascal doesn't like dropouts. I wouldn't say that necessarily. You know, everybody's got their own journey, right? I don't understand people that join SNY gangs. I will say that. I wouldn't say necessarily I don't like them. I don't think that much about them. And I'm not around any of them to have to make a decision whether I like them or not, right? I'm just not around them. I just don't understand it. I don't know. It is what it is. But in terms of people who, I don't respect folks that throw everybody else under the bus to save their own ass. You know, I feel like that's just shady to do. You know. But everybody has their own story, and everybody arrives at the crossroads in their lives in different ways. And I never experienced anything that led me to consider that. Right? It never crossed my mind. Um, but who am I to tell another person how to get down? Now in prison it was a different story, right? I very much pushed the line on stuff like that. Um, but I'm not in prison anymore, and so I don't need to concern myself with that. That stuff's not my business. The people I associate with in real life that have done time have done their time the right way and come home and they're living their life. They're doing their thing, and those are people I'm more comfortable with in person. Um, but I'm not running around committing crimes or doing anything anyways. But yeah, it's a little tricky. Yeah, it's everybody got their own story, you know. Oh, five tapping in. That's right. What years did you live in EPA? 2007, 2008 until 2011. Um, and then I went through East Palo Alto when I was younger. I didn't live there, but I would go through there just like everybody else on the peninsula, right? But lived there, had a house there. Um, yeah, like 4 or 5 years after I was already out of prison. I was still on parole when I moved to East Palo Alto. Always respectful, factual, but able to admit when you got it wrong. Yeah, yeah, and sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. I'm from Hollis. Get a medical alert bracelet for your parent for dementia. In Hollister, we don't play that shit. Shout out to Hollister. Uh, something is on Daniel Cooley Street, but I'm from Redwood. That's right. Cooley Street, huh? Nicky boy from Hollister, but you don't know Tree Boy. I know Crazy Boy. Yo. What's up, Big Figures? Good to see you. Yes, yeah, 80 something dollars a month, cricket. I'm like, man, that shit's wild. Can you do another video about the issue with you and Snoop again? More people should hear what a piece of shit he really is. Um, Slim 916. I mean, I guess. Uh, yeah, yeah, I guess so. Oh no, you guys let me know. If you guys have been around the channel for a while, know the situation. Um, and those of you guys that know me in real life know the situation. Uh, but I don't know. What do you guys think, man? Should I do another one? Sam Ramirez, para los chicles. Hey, gracias. I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. Should I do another video about Maurice Vasquez from Sacramento? Would you ever do a Vlad TV or Cam Capone interview? I don't expect that they would ever ask me, to be honest, right? So it's not something I've ever considered because I don't see it happening. They want sensational stories, right? They want entertainers, right? Rappers, actors, um, celebrity gangsters, which is kind of a weird kind of breed of people online. And I'm not any of that. And then they want people, like I said, to tell sensational stories. They want to hear about decapitations and all this crazy stuff and this like self-glorification. I was that guy, right? I was a killer and I was a shot caller and I was a gang leader and I was this and I was that, and that's just not my style of communicating. That's not, you know, I'm not proud of my criminal history or whatever. I stand on it. I don't hide from it or run from it or lie about it. But um, it's not who I am today, and I don't want to go viral for what I did in prison 25 years ago. Like I feel like that is kind of a failure on my end. And I've done a lot of really cool stuff since I've been home. But I think that I do have a pretty incredible story. I don't have a unique story. I know a ton of people that have stories just as, if not more incredible than me. But from getting a GD when I was incarcerated as a juvenile to taking my first college classes in prison and becoming a paralegal and beating my validation a couple times, but never getting out of the shoe until I paroled, and to getting out and working with young people and being able to go back to Pelican Bay and talk to guys that had just got kicked out the shoe about college, being a student at UC Berkeley, traveling all over the country, speaking places, working on cases. Um, the community work, man, taking kids to Tahoe, taking kids to the beach, hiring fucking hundreds of kids in my life, at real jobs, and helping to reduce violence, and also losing some people, having some youngsters get killed, have some youngsters get life sentences, having my house shot up, having my car shot up. Like, it's not all great. There's some losses, there's some L's in there that you take. Being a father, and having three kids and being present in their lives, and so there's a lot of stuff in my story that I would much rather go viral for, because they're things that I'm more proud of and things I'm more passionate about than my past, Um, but those platforms don't strike me as being interested in that, and so I just don't see it ever happening. I don't see them ever knocking on my door, you know. If they ever did, I'd cross that bridge when I come to it. I wouldn't say no right now. It would just depend on what they want to talk about. Um, I could say a show like Johnny Mitchell's show, The Connect, I would never go on ever, because he doesn't even do right by his guests, you know. Um, and that's what I thought the situation was with this Sanchez dude from San Francisco. That Johnny Mitchell kind of baited him into getting a little carried away with his story. But then seeing him on Vlad, I'm like, oh no, this is who you want to portray yourself to be. Okay, well, I'm gonna sign up to pull your covers in, you know. But yeah, I don't. That's my thought on it. Good question though, Silver. Good question. Shout out to Larry County 559. I'll send mine in return, bro. Good to see you. I appreciate that, Niner Gang 81. Didn't I tell you my last celly was rolled from Watsonville and maximum security? After that, I never went back. So what you talking about? Bro, get off live. It's been 3 hours. You rambling. It has not been 3 hours. You need to get a better watch. So try one like this. It's dope. Find some people that love you. They might give you one. You see Hector Bravo going at it with CDCR? Off top. Off top, yeah. That's right, Louis Payne. Augie Arias, what's up? Yeah, it's crazy, Ryan. It's crazy. Like, cops don't even have to get in their cars and drive around. All they gotta do is look at social media. That's it. Dustin Barelas, good to see you, man. You never heard of Same 310? Okay. Oh, you can pause your subscription? I just didn't pay them, and now they get at me all the time. Like, pay us, pay us, pay us. And I'm like, fuck you. Been watching a long time. You have a lot of knowledge you can't get in college. I appreciate that, bread guy. I'll do the devil. I do. I got his number. We have a bit of history. Uh, he was at my wedding, him and Davina, and some of the other Sabbath Out folks. When I came home from prison, Chino had been rapping for a long time, right? Chino Montana had been rapping for a long time, but then he had signed to Sabbath Out shortly after I came home. And so that's how I met all them. I'd never heard about an Antioch rap scene prior to going to prison. I didn't really pay attention to Antioch prior to going to prison, to be honest. Anything past Pittsburgh, I just thought was kind of cornfields, but Antioch was with it. They had their own shit going on. I just wasn't aware of it, so I'm not trying to put them down or like they weren't a factor. I just wasn't aware of what was going on out there. And so I came home and I met those guys and went to the studio. We kicked it, and Tone was a cool dude. Um, he he had a falling out with Chino that, then I started had two sides. Of course, I'm a Chino side because I've known him, you know, half my life, right? And I'd known Tone for like a year. Um, so a little bit of a divide there. And then um, Tone wound up having a falling out with some other people with Sabbath Out that I had a good relationship with. And I'm more kind of rock with them. So I don't have anything against the dude, and I don't have anything bad to say about him. Um, I don't know that, maybe someday we would do something together. I'm not sure. Uh, I don't know, you know, uh, but anything's possible. Who knows? You guys get at them and tell them. Uh, how can a family help when someone comes home from prison? Martinez Cool Girl, I actually did a video. It's one of my early videos. So if you go on my list of videos and at the top, it's like most viewed, most recent, and oldest, and click oldest, right? And then scroll through. There's some videos about me doing time like Corcoran, Pelican Bay Zoo, my first fight in juvenile hall, my first day, and that kind of stuff. But in that first like 10 videos, there's one about, um, helping your loved ones when they come home, and prison romance. Um, I think I might have redone it. It didn't get hardly any views at the time, but it's a whole video about the challenges that are faced when somebody comes home from prison. Because on one hand you got the family, and I looked at it more like kind of through the lens of wife and maybe kids and a husband coming home, but I'm sure it applies to mothers and sisters and brothers and that kind of stuff too. But it's hard because you got the family at home and they've been waiting for that moment, right? They've been waiting for that moment for their loved one to return. And now the loved one returns and it's like the world is right again, right? Everything is fixed. Like the family's back together, it's that is the, you could take a breath. Um, that can come across as a lot of pressure for the dude getting out of prison though, of a lot of weight on them. And when it comes in particular to women, right, to romantic relationships, that woman's figured out how to get by without you all that time in prison. So she got her own routine that she does, and she washes the dishes a certain way, she cleans the floor a certain way, and she gets up at a certain time, and then the guy comes home, and a lot of times guys want to assert themselves, right? They want to reclaim their position, and really all they're doing is fucking up the flow of the household, right? And it can come across like they're not wanted, and we have a lot of idealistic views of what it's going to be like when our loved one gets out. Everything's going to be great, everything's going to be good, and a lot of times families, moms, wives, they don't want you going to hang out with your homeboys, because they're scared to death of losing you, but it can also come across like you're being another parole officer to them, and guys can, like, what else I don't know what else to do. I've been gone all this time. I want to see my friend. I want to walk down the street to the store. And the lady's like, no, I don't want you to walk down the street because who knows what's going to happen. The cops could pull up. Some people can pull up, youngsters. Like, it can go bad and you can go back to prison. And I don't want that. So I'm going to drive you to the store. No, fuck you. I don't need a ride. I want to walk. Right? And little stuff like that, quote unquote little stuff, can really be disastrous. So both parties need to have a lot of grace. And relationships that are strengthened through incarceration, that's not the best recipe for having a relationship when you're home, because it's a relationship in a bubble. The dude, most of the time at least, right, the guy, he's not telling you about all the shit that he's really going through in prison. He doesn't want to trouble you, he doesn't want to worry you, and you're probably not telling him about all the shit that's going on at home because you don't want to trouble them and worry them and stress them out. So you have this sanitized communication and relationship where it's just the highlights, but that's not real life. When you're living under the same roof, it's not just the highlights, it's all of it. And sometimes that communication hasn't been developed, and people have all these ambitions and these goals, both the person coming home and the family that's at home waiting for them, and it's not always so easy, you know. A lot of times, especially women, or and women with kids, like, damn fool, you need to go get a paycheck, because, like, I've been supporting all of us on my own, plus sending you money for canteen and shit. Now you're out here, like, get to work, fool, and it's not always easy to find work. And depending on the environment that they're paroling from, to be quite honest, some guys aren't ready to go to a 9 to 5 the day they get out of prison. That would send them back. And I'm not suggesting they'd be a slouch or a bum or anything. I paroled on a Friday. I went to work on Monday, but I went to work with my uncle. You know, but it's an adjustment. Nowadays, I think it's easier because a lot of the guys, there's a lot of programs available. There's a lot of groups. There's a lot of self-help stuff. There's a lot of workshops. There's a lot of curriculum. And so a lot of guys are coming out of prison today with much healthier mentalities than even a lot of guys who are out here who never went to prison. To be honest, I'm not suggesting people go to prison to learn these life skills. You can learn them in the streets too. But just the reality is a lot of folks are coming home sharper and more emotionally mature and stable and well regulated. So that's a benefit. When I came home, they were just dumping us out of the SHU program. And my pre-release was some old Breaking Barriers videos on the institution channel and the workbook that I went through by myself. There was no groups, there was no workshops, there was no real stuff to help. And even to the extent that that stuff could have been helpful, man, they should have gave that to me when I first came into prison, and I may have done my time a little bit different. But giving it to me on the way out, I'm already conditioned, and it's too late. And going from an environment where I didn't have any physical touch of a human being for years, except when I went to the hospital and the doctor shook my hand and I damn near had a fucking panic attack because I didn't know how to respond when he put his hand out and introduced himself, because I hadn't experienced that in years. And now you're out in society where people don't even watch where they're going, and they're talking on the phones and they bump into you and they don't say excuse me, and it could be very, very overwhelming. You go from a place that's virtually silent to society where the wind makes noise, everything is loud. And it's sensory overload. You go from sensory deprivation, which is a form of torture, and it's exactly what solitary confinement in the California Department of Corrections was, to then sensory overload, right, of all the sounds and the smells and the sights and the emotion, and it can be a lot, so but I think guys are coming home now in large part better prepared than ever to be successful in society. What's up, Brian Cardena? It's good to see you. Mario Roque from Watsonville, part of the Rico Diamond Embracement. Give me validation. Were you forever fearful of that? No, I kind of figured it would happen. I hoped it wouldn't. I was pissed when it did. I was mad as a motherfucker. Because I got validated at Vacaville. I was like, fuck, I'm, level 4 big shot. You motherfuckers validate me at a medical facility? Then I try to talk my way out of it, Man, this shit don't count. And the captain, when I came through R&R back from Vacaville to Salinas Valley, the captain in R&R took it. He was like, you know what? I'm going to put you back on the yard, man, because this is some bullshit. But it's going to be up to classification, but your people got some issues out there right now. And I'm going to put you back out there. And so I went out there, but of course, the next day classification snatched me up and was like, no, stupid, you're validated. But I wouldn't say I was forever fearful of it. Tried to avoid it, did what I could. I had the Mongolian and all that shit, and as soon as I became a bro, I cut that off, and tried to make myself more discreet. I didn't get a lot of the gang tattoos and that kind of stuff. But there's only so much you could do, bro. There's a lot of people telling in prison. A lot of actives tell. Exactly what you said is where I'm with it too. They say it's the message, but it always goes with glorification. Right. That validation for you was just a big pressure. I know nothing about. Yeah, it was rough. Um, Hoodstock's lucky seems to have a lot of people looking. I like Hoodstocks. I do. He's all cap, big figures. Uh, I appreciate that, Joseph Silva. Um, uh, okay, you guys can stop arguing about your status. Like, especially if you live in the same community. Go meet up somewhere and figure it out. Show each other your 128 Gs. I've been watching the Mario Sanchez thing, bro. I can't. Looks like Mike, the situation from Jersey Shore, talking about the meantime. Uh, okay, I'm gonna go pause that shit today. Yes, you can be indicted for stuff on social media, even if it turns out to be BS. Yeah, look at Loose Cannon. That dude lied through his teeth. Lied through his teeth. Uh, and fucking got indicted. I mean, how stupid you gotta be to talk yourself into a federal indictment? Uh, uh, Mental Health Monday video. Yep, it's coming. Uh, let's see. Shout out West Texas oil fields. Slim 916, I did see it. Yeah, I talked to Chongo in real life, man. He texted me that video and I checked it out. It was dope. What's up, Mr. Tahoe? Uh, which gangster? Oh, Philip Ortega. No, but I know who you're talking about. What's up, J49? Uh, I'm just skipping past all the removal stuff. AZ Chicano 100. Good to see you, homie. Mohammed. Good and bad are relative terms. I'm healthier than I was. I'll tell you that. That's all the feds need for facts. Sub to both channel. Thank you, Gas Mask. Hypothetically, allegedly, of course. All right, look, man, it's been 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 32 seconds. And I heard a while ago, what's up, Bone Crusher? The missus came out and said dinner was almost ready. And I was like, 20 minutes ago. And I'm hungry, and she cooks good. So I'm going to call it a night, man. I appreciate you guys for riding with me. If you have not hit the like, please do so on your way out. If you're watching on a mobile, you can just double tap the screen. Bow, bow. And it's simple as that. I just unliked my own video, so let me fix that. There we go. Thank you guys, man. Help others move with excellence. That's what homies do. Help yourself at the same time because you're worth it. Help your community because they need you. And thank you guys for rocking with me, man. You know, it's a real blessing to be able to take so much time off of YouTube and come back on to a very familiar community, right? And there's some new folks, of course, and I appreciate you guys. But you know, a lot of people, man, they stop doing content and their channel dies, you know, and it's taken some work to get back into the algorithm, right? And I'm kind of playing around with some different themes and stuff to try to, you know, get the numbers where they should be. But I love these lives, man. I love the community that we built here, and I appreciate you guys for it, man. So take care, stay blessed, and stay tuned. I got more coming tomorrow. Rascal Reacts. I will drop a link to it in my community post. If you're not subscribed to that channel, you might want to, because I'm gonna start doing reactions over there. And we're going to keep our foot on the neck of some of these clowns, man. But we're also going to help others move with excellence, right? Because that is what homies do. All right, you guys, take care.